The hospital lobby was full of noise, machines beeping, nurses walking fast, people talking in low voices. But none of it was louder than the sharp, cold voice of Dr. Karen Latham. "Do people like you ever take responsibility for anything?" she snapped, staring down at the pregnant black woman in front of her. The woman, Naomi, wore a light blue hospital gown and held her stomach tightly. Her face showed more than just pain. It showed hurt, shame, and disbelief. Dr. Latham's words cut deeper than any knife. Nearby nurses froze, their eyes wide. The whole hallway seemed to go silent. Something was about to happen, something no one would forget. Naomi stood quietly, even though her hands were shaking. She was trying not to cry. She was 8 months pregnant, scared something was wrong, and she had come for help. But instead of kindness, she got insulted. What no one knew was that 10 minutes later, this hospital would never be the same again. Not because of Dr. Latham's cruelty, but because of the man who would soon walk through those doors. Naomi Carter had always been strong. As a kindergarten teacher, she spent her days helping little kids learn and grow. Her heart was big enough to care for every child in her class. But now, 8 months pregnant, Naomi didn't feel strong. She felt scared. That morning, sharp pain had gripped her lower stomach, and she rushed to Mercy General Hospital, worried something was wrong with the baby. She needed care. She needed kindness. But instead, she got Dr. Karen Latham. The doctor didn't smile. She didn't ask many questions. She just frowned and said, "You're overreacting." Then, in a cold voice, she added, "This is why we get so many useless ER visits from people like you." Naomi's hands started to shake, not from fear, but from trying not to cry. Her voice stayed quiet, but inside she was breaking. She had never felt so unwanted in a place meant to help people. Naomi pulled out her phone with shaky fingers and sent a short, desperate text. "Doctor won't help me." She didn't need to say more. Her husband, Officer Marcus Carter, read those 4 words and was already out the door. 10 minutes later, the hospital doors swung open hard. Marcus walked in fast, wearing his full police uniform. The badge on his chest gleamed under the bright lights, but it was the fire in his eyes that made everyone stop and look. He was usually calm, steady, but not today. Not when his wife was in pain. He spotted Naomi right away, sitting hunched over in the waiting area, holding her belly. Her face told him everything. Marcus marched straight to the front desk. His voice was firm but low. "I need to speak to the Chief of Staff, right now." The staff behind the desk looked nervous. They could feel the pressure in the air. Something was wrong, really wrong, and this man wasn't going to let it be ignored. Dr. Karen Latham saw Marcus and rolled her eyes. "Oh, please," she said with a smirk. "You think flashing a badge is going to change anything? Your wife is fine, just another overdramatic patient." Marcus didn't flinch. He took a step closer, his voice sharp and steady. "My wife is in pain," he said, "and you're refusing to treat her." The room fell silent again. The nurses nearby froze, eyes bouncing between the two. Dr. Latham's smug smile faded just a little, but she didn't back down. Her words had already done enough, and now she was doubling down instead of fixing it. Marcus's eyes never left hers. He wasn't here for a fight. He was here to protect his wife. And now, everyone around them could feel just how serious things were getting. Suddenly, a loud, sharp beep came from the monitor beside Naomi. The machine's alarm broke the tense silence like a warning siren. Nurses rushed closer, eyes wide with concern. Naomi's blood pressure was climbing fast, and her face twisted in pain. She gasped for breath. "She's in distress," one nurse shouted, grabbing a nearby phone to call for help. Dr. Karen Latham's face paled for a moment. The cold confidence she'd shown before flickered and almost vanished. This was no longer about pride or power. This was a real emergency. The nurses quickly moved Naomi onto a stretcher. They worked fast, wheeling her toward the emergency room. Marcus stepped back, watching as the situation turned serious. He knew now that this wasn't just about words or insults, it was about his wife's life and the baby growing inside her. Marcus turned slowly toward Dr. Karen Latham. His voice was low but filled with anger. "If anything happens to my wife or our child," he said, "I will make sure you never practice medicine again." For the first time, Dr. Latham had no words. Her usual smirk disappeared. She looked away, realizing just how serious Marcus was. The whole room seemed to hold its breath. Marcus wasn't just a worried husband, he was a man ready to fight for his family. No one doubted his warning. The power shifted. Dr. Latham's arrogance began to crumble under the weight of his promise. This wasn't just a threat, it was a promise backed by everything he cared about most. Moments later, the chief of staff arrived. He didn't need to yell or argue. The facts spoke loudly enough. Witnesses had seen the neglect, and Naomi was now in serious danger. Marcus stood calm but firm, his presence commanding respect. Dr. Karen Latham's confident mask began to crack. For the first time, her actions were being held up to real scrutiny. The hospital staff whispered quietly, relieved someone was finally taking charge. This was no longer just about one doctor's arrogance. It was about saving a mother and her unborn child, and making sure justice was done. Hours later, Naomi was resting in a quiet, clean hospital room. Her newborn daughter lay safely wrapped in her arms. The doctors had caught preeclampsia just in time, a dangerous condition that could have been fatal if ignored. Marcus sat beside Naomi, gently brushing her knuckles with his thumb. "You feeling better?" he asked softly. Naomi gave a weak smile. "Much better now." Down the hall, Dr. Karen Latham was suspended, waiting for an investigation. Nurses whispered quietly, relieved that justice was finally being served. For the first time in a long while, Mercy General Hospital felt like it truly cared. This story touched many hearts because it showed what real strength looks like. Naomi faced cruelty but didn't give up. Marcus stood strong and protected his family when it mattered most. And finally, justice was served. If this story moved you, don't forget to hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Drop a karma if you believe good always wins. Stories like this remind us why standing up against injustice matters. Mercy General Hospital may never be the same, but maybe that's a good thing.